is so much that has to happen in your favor that you really don't have sole control over. Because 90% of what we do is people oriented, and people gonna always people.
My question is, I guess it segues into our topic today, the OPM magnet. Um, I found a 72 unit apartment building in
How
Metro
many?
Detroit,
How many rooms?
72,
72. Okay.
72.
Okay.
And it's about a fourth occupied. Um, and they want like 1.5 for it. So I was really interested in figuring out, okay, in my situation, I got some capital. Like I got just say six figures to put
hmm
down on something like that. Do you recommend, I guess it's a two-part question. Do you recommend going towards that part? Like if, because my goal is 40,000 a month, right? So four doors, 40,000 a month. That's the easy route to it. That's what I've been focused on.
Okay.
But in the process, do you think going about something like that first before you go about a duplex, triplex, quad is better, or how would you go about
First of all, I appreciate you asking the question because it's full of wisdom, right? Um, the there's some people that jump right into commercial multifamily, right? I can only tell you from my own experience and practical application that what I did in a single family space and all the multitude of rehabs that I did really did prepare me to take on a larger project. Okay, because while there's a lot of benefit to having all of your doors under one roof, right, which is why I buy apartment buildings as well, you also got all your problems under one roof. I hope y'all caught that, right? So there's a lot of benefit to having all of your doors under one roof, but there's the detractors that you also got all your problems under one roof. So what happens is if you go out and do that kind of project as your first project, and you start to have issues, as you will, I guarantee you. I'm doing a rehab on a 40 unit building right now. You're going to have problems, and they're extrapolated. You know what I'm saying? In that size of a building, um, it's really about what's your appetite and what's your bandwidth, and do you want to maybe build some momentum in something that you can learn that seems a lot more manageable, and then scale up to something like that? Or do you want to just jump right into it? I never discourage people from where they should start. I just give them context as to what I've seen to be the most successful model, which is people starting on smaller projects, getting acclimated with, it's so much that has to happen in your favor that you really don't have sole control over. Because 90% of what we do is people oriented, and people gonna always people. So imagine having a single family house with a $30,000 renovation, and guys not showing up for work, and your project extend out and it take you 8 months to renovate that property to get it on the market. Now, on the other side of that, imagine having 50 something doors, right, out of the 72 that you got to renovate, and your team don't show up. And your carrying cost on that is $15,000-$20,000 a month. So that's the other side of it. And I don't know what the condition is. I don't know. I mean, for 1.5, I imagine these doors probably need 20, 30,000 a door in renovations. You know what I mean? Including probably the roof, the common area, and everything else. So, it's just some work at the end of the day. And if the value is there, right, it's a good deal for somebody. I don't know if that's the best deal for you at this point. But maybe, right? It could be. But I think that is the wisdom in it is that you stop to ask the question. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the most dangerous person is the one that got their own money. Having your own money affords you the opportunity to make bad decisions. You got nobody to answer to. So every deal that I do that I put my money in, and I promise y'all this, every deal that I do that I put my money in, I think about it as if it was my investors' money. Would I put their money in this deal? And if it's too risky for their money, then it's not for mine either. Because I made poor decisions from being enabled by my own pocketbook, by my own checking account. Acquisition is the easiest part of our business, believe it or not. Until you get your first deal, you ain't gonna feel that way. But the truth of it is, acquisition is the easiest part of what we do.
it? I guess you're going to talk about it today, but not fully going into that big project myself. Maybe getting some experienced investors along my partnership and just kind of go through it that way. Or would that be an
Yeah.
option, or you would just be like, nah?
Oh, 100%, bro. You know, everything is about collaboration. You know, we're as much as we're in the information age, we're really in the partnership age and the collaboration age. So I'd be less concerned about finding investors to collaborate with as opposed to a strong developer. Somebody that's went in and that's done, you know, because I mean, you're talking 30,000 a door, seven. I mean, you talking probably 2.5 million, you know, with another 10-20% variance in that rehab budget, right? So you need somebody that's been there, done that, close to $3 million renovation. That's gonna probably be a 24-month project, right? And then you need to have a sound lease up strategy to where do we want to complete all the units, right? Or do we come in and can we segregate the building in such a way to allow us to start leasing up a portion of it and do it in phases? Or because of how the building is situated, we can't get a certificate of occupancy until we get all the units done. That totally skews your approach on, you know, what your run rate is or your burn rate, I should say, on this carrying cost versus when can you start making money, right? All that's going to be important to your investors. What kind of equity multiple can they yield in 5 years if it takes 2 years just to even get it operating, right? What's the long term exit strategy? What's the business model? Do we want market rate tenants or subsidized? It's so much that go into it, right? And that's just having a game plan. And then it's what Mike Tyson said best: everything good till you get punched in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when it all starts. It's like, man, we had a plan. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Man, makes so much sense. Truly appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And just one piece to add to Bruce, just so y'all know, I always talk myself out of a deal before I talk myself into one. Something I learned from bumps and bruises, losing $500,000. I talk myself out of a deal before I talk myself into one. If you get good at that, now I know some of y'all are over analytical, so you already talking yourself out of deals. So we gotta pray and work with y'all a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? But for most of us who hyper on the other side, we have to really be intentional about talking ourselves out of deals to justify doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like we really got to put the deal through a stress test to make sure it makes sense.